today I'm going to start with this first. This is the first presentation, right?
Yes.
Formal presentation.
Dr. Shah, yes, sir. Dr. Shah.
Dr. Shah already. We talked about what?
Leadership.
Leadership. Okay. So today we talk about innovation, okay, and startup. So as you know, that we are now in a different, totally different world. So different from my world when I was your age, and so different from a generation before that. As you know, things have not been changing. How long have the humans been here, in your opinion? How long humans have been on Earth, in your opinion? What is your best guess?
I believe years.
Too long. That's 50,000, 60,000 years, and give or take 70,000, depending on 80,000, but not more than 100,000 years. But the thing is that for all that time, people have been living almost the same way until the last 18th century. Even the king will go on a horse, ordinary man will also go on a horse. King has no aircon, ordinary man has no aircon, right? So they have no phone. Nobody, doesn't matter how rich, poor or powerful you are, still everyday life was still the same for everyone. And they almost lived the same way for centuries and centuries and centuries, right? Until last century, it's just started to change completely. Now every few years, it's not the same world that we lived before, right? And that is the reason that we need to talk about innovation and startup opportunities, especially now. Now means this 2000 and onwards, or even a little bit the last few years. So why innovation is easier now? Let's just see why it is important and easier now, and it was not so easy in the past. Can you name who was the most famous inventor, innovator that you like? There could be many, but I want to get 3 top names.
Elon Musk.
No, I'm talking about back in history, not now. Elon Musk, of course.
Thomas Edison.
Thomas Edison. Okay. Anybody else?
Einstein.
Einstein. I go further back. I'm talking about older history, before the modern times. Galileo. Okay.
Da Vinci.
Da Vinci. Yeah. In fact, if you look at him, he was the most broad innovator, inventor, and working in many fields. Okay. And a lot of those. So if you go to AIT Solutions and AIT, you have seen that, right? So that's why we think that it's important that he was one of the guys who did that long time ago. But he was in a different world. Many of these things didn't work, right? Because now it's easier. First, most important thing that we need to remember is that it's a level playing field. What does it mean? That means no matter who you are, where you are, you have the same access to knowledge and same access to what you can do. For example, when I was young, if I wanted to, I'm a structural designer, we design buildings. At that time, in 1982, when I started my job, not a few were born at that time, I'm sure. Right? 1982, when I started the job, if I want to do a building or design, I don't know what the people in New York are doing because they are designing all these high-rise and I'm not. So I'm wondering, because I do not have the same knowledge and the same soft tools and the same hardware, same things that they have. Better education, better knowledge. So yeah, I can go to the library, I can see some journal which is very old, and so on. So I cannot compete with them at all because they have things that we don't have. Now, at this time, a structural engineer anywhere in the world has exactly the same software as the people sitting in New York or in London or in Europe have. He has the same access to same books, same knowledge, same internet, same paper, same journal at the same time as they have. The building codes are printed, they are already there online, you can read it, he can read it. For me, if I want a building code, I have to order and wait for months to arrive and very expensive, most of the time I can't even afford it. So there was people were playing at different levels. That is not the case anymore. Everyone has the same now access, same level. You have no excuse for not doing something great. So that's the first important thing to remember, that we have the same level playing field for everyone. And internet, of course, is the one that did that. It brought everybody to the same level. Africa, villages, You'll be surprised if you travel to a remote village and how people are very knowledgeable about the most recent thing that happened few hours ago. Unimaginable earlier. So internet, of course, has made it possible for everyone to be, number one, connected and have access to knowledge, information, everything. So again, like I said, no excuse. Now, biggest helpers or the levelers in this are these guys, social media, right? So before that, it was very difficult to connect, communicate. You only had one way to do that, write letters, right? Imagine writing letters, right? It was the only way to communicate with other people and wait for the letter to. I remember when my father used to travel abroad for a few months, then he would tell us that he's going to that country. So in advance, we will send letters addressed to the addresses that he will reach there a month later, and then read that and then send and after. And sometimes he will return already, and the letters will be coming that he wrote to us. That was how slow the communication was at that time. The only way to communicate. Now you have all this integration, communication, I don't know, 11, 12 ways that you can communicate with each other right away. Okay. So this is a big thing for now that helps innovation and helps business later. The next big thing, the biggest thing, probably the biggest thing is the mobile phone. Because mobile phone is not just a phone, as you can see, you know very well that it has eaten up all these devices. Camera, scanner, music player, video player, torch, compass, map, computer, calculator, calendar, radio, speaker, typewriter, drawing pad, credit card, a mirror. I see people using phone as a mirror, and sound sensor, magnifier, light sensor, accelerometer, everything. You can think of, the list is not complete. It just goes on and on. And what is missing here in this list? Calling. You can still call. You can use it to call also, but that's not even the main function of the phone anymore. When you see the advertisement of a phone, what do they show? Camera. They show that. They never talk about the calling capability of the phone. That is the most boring part of the phone. A lot of people in Europe and America don't even have a cell phone number anymore. They just use WhatsApp or other big things to call each other. They don't have a number anymore, traditional number. So it's disappearing. Even the phone is disappearing. We're supposed to be a mobile phone. So this is a great thing because any innovation that you will use in any of those things. Yes, please. So any of the innovation that people used to do in camera is like innovation in camera. So you have to put it in camera. You have to be a camera producer to do that, right? Now, no. You have innovation related to camera, cell phone. You have an innovation related to a torch, for example, cell phone. You didn't need a torch to put your innovation there. So imagine that all the innovations of 50 gadgets or 50 products that people have to make in the past and sell them separately, costing thousands of dollars, are now there in one device. So which means that innovation now has no boundary. Everything that you can create is already there in a phone. All you have to do is innovate something that works on the phone. So that's the key difference, that now you can innovate in all these gadgets and products and services and everything. You can combine them together. This music player, accelerometer, compass with credit card, I don't know. So you can create, this is an unlimited way to create innovation. Do you know how many apps are there on App Store? Yes.
Around 1 million?
Million? 2 million? 3 million? Okay, you will keep on doing that. That's not a good way to do that. 6 million, big jump. 90 million plus. 90 million plus on iPhone and about 100 million plus on Google.
Play Store.
Play Store.
Play Store.
Yeah, Play Store and on the App Store. Imagine. And what are these apps? They're all innovations using something of this and put it on a mobile phone. Right? So imagine 100 million, around 100 million people around the world have developed some innovative thinking, have done something, and they have put it on the phone. That, well, how many people are using it? That's another story. I'll come to that in a minute. Okay. But innovation prospects are unlimited and open for everybody. And of course, you can. How many people have seen and used this phone? On the right hand side, or seen one? It's not antique shops, right? It's a classic thing. You go to it. So, like I'm saying, integrated innovation is now possible using all the gadgets, sensors, and everything which is in there. And it is with you all the time, right? People can go without food, they cannot go without mobile phone and data connectivity, You know, when we travel and we go to the hotel, we don't ask the hotel, we have food. We say, do you have internet? Because we're so, connected. We want to be always connected to the phone. Is the main thing, doing everything. And that's why we can innovate using the phone or the phone-based stuff. In fact, some people are going as far as saying that if in the future your product or service does not use mobile phone, it is not relevant anymore. It has gone to that far. But at the same time, some companies did not recognize. Anybody know Nokia? The most popular mobile phone in the world, the only mobile phone in the world, disappeared because they did not recognize that phone is not a phone anymore. Phone is something else. And they did catch up that idea because they are already gone, eliminated. Right?
But they're coming back now.
They will not be coming back. Too late for them. Sorry. They've tried. You like Nokia?
Of course you have to, because in our country there was one time, Nokia is the only phone that we had.
Yes, right. But I'm sorry they're not coming back. The other company, Kodak, films. How many people have used film in a camera? Anyone? Oh, that's a surprise. Long back. Very. That company also did not see it coming, and they did not recognize that digital things are coming, and they are almost Alpha and Kodak, both almost out of business. So there are a lot of companies that did not innovate, did not recognize what's going on, and they were left behind and gone. So strange. I remember my first mobile phone, not mine. I was in my office, and a guy came to my office, and not him, it was too big, so his driver was carrying a big phone with a battery stuff, and he put it on my table, and then he showed it off because it was a mobile phone. Big thing. It was something. That name also gone now because they didn't follow the innovation. So the point is that you need to really keep up with the possibilities. So all you need to do now is this. Imagine, create, promote, market, sell, all using a cell phone. You can do everything on just a phone. Biggest car company or riding company in the world is Uber. They don't own a single car. The biggest hotel company is Airbnb. They don't own a single hotel room. The value of Airbnb is about $65 billion US. They don't own anything. The value of Ford Motor, which owns millions of cars and factories and employ hundreds of thousands of people, is less than that. Just virtual value because of the prospect of this business. So you can see, now this is the next topic, best thing, startup. You can start a business now by yourself anytime. So you can either be a CEO on day one when you graduate, or you can go and be a most junior employee in a company. It's your choice, right? So now people have their choice to just graduate or even don't graduate and become a CEO, maybe a card that I'm the CEO of this company with only one person, one employee. But it's okay, you're the owner, right? Or you can be a sales executive or junior engineer or something like that in a company. And we are trying to teach our students and everybody that there are two ways. Don't just be in the traditional, line where you graduate, find a job and do like that. That is not necessary. There are other ways to do things. And now is the way to do that. So you can see all these people are young. These are all CEOs of big companies. They're all young. There used to be a time that seniority was, this age will determine your position. So if you are above 50 or 55, then you can be a CEO. Below that, there was actually an age limit on positions written in the TORs. Not anymore. 12 years old can be a CEO of companies. They're running it. 12 years old. Employing 60-year-old people for their work, right? So things have completely changed because of this startup stuff. So startup basically, you create an idea, you implement, and then you know, the whole thing. Many people will come and talk to you about startup. So startup is another option for people now, younger people, because startup has the advantage of having your own business and creating jobs, not just only doing a job for somebody else. So your output to the society is much bigger than if you just do a job by yourself. So what are the things that you need to know as this? Now we're going to go a little bit behind that and see what knowledge is needed to what technologies are there, where you can innovate, where you can do the startups, where you can do, where are the opportunities, right? So we have talked about that now it's very easy, first of all, to do everything. And you just need a mobile phone, you can create, you can have business, you can do the marketing, you can do everything only on an app. Good app. Now coming back, failure rates. So I said 100 million apps, 95% or 90 million out of them have not been used by anybody except the people who developed it. Nobody downloaded them. Sad part. So 90% or 85% or more apps have never been downloaded even one time, except by the people who developed it. That means they had an idea, but nobody wants that idea. So it's not that you just have an idea and you go for it and people will want it. No. And some apps are downloaded billions of times, right? So it's a big parity between the two ends. We are also developing a lot of apps, and in different fields, different numbers are good. But I can tell you, getting good downloads, usable, even free apps, nobody wants to download. Most of these apps are free. People don't want it. It's waste of time, waste of their mobile phone memory. They don't want it. And a lot of apps people install and then uninstall. So in the end, according to the many research, most of you can check yourself also. 35 to 40 apps is all that you people will be using on the average. You check yourself. How many apps do you use in a month? Few you will use daily, few you will use once a week, few once a month, right? Other than that, maybe you download some app you never open. So 35 apps is all that is. So you are actually trying to create a high impact innovation that will go into that very small space, right? So what are the areas that you can work on? Artificial intelligence and computing, of course, that's the one. Artificial intelligence is currently the most important area where everybody is trying to work. So what is artificial intelligence? First of all, what is intelligence?
Ability to think and take decisions.
Very good. Anybody else? What is intelligence? What do you think? Intelligence. Are you intelligent? No? You cannot say that. Of course, everybody is intelligent. Different levels of intelligence, but everybody is intelligent. That's why you are here. You have grades. I think probably you wouldn't be here if you were already not intelligent. I can assure you. We only got these smart people here. Okay? So if you're here, it's already proved that you have. So intelligence, like you said, is one of those things, but there's a lot of things behind that. Okay? So artificial intelligence tries to think how the human brain thinks, stores information, and processes it. Right? So there are many technologies that mimic brain thinking. Rich pictures, analytical hierarchy process, artificial neural network, genetic algorithm, expert system, fuzzy logic, deep thinking. How many of you have heard about these in the past? Which one do you know? Which one?
Fuzzy logic. Fuzzy logic.
Fuzzy logic, what is that?
So we assign quantitative numbers to a qualitative aspect and measure something like I'm an urban planning student and we were studying this one research in Istanbul, Turkey about the walkability criteria with the satisfaction level with the public spaces. So you can't really give satisfaction level some numbers, but they did that using some software. It was called MATLAB, and using fuzzy logic, they assigned number to a qualitative aspect.
Right, good. Fuzzy, what's the word fuzzy means? Not clear, out of focus.
Yes, sir.
So that means there is no yes and no, there is also maybe, right? So this, because but the computers work only in 0 and 1, basic binary states. They don't know anything in between, in a final sense. So fuzzy means not clear, ambiguous, but you create logic which can compare maybe also rather than yes and no or exact numbers. So that's, so it's a very important area of computing. Now other things important are this one, artificial neural network. What is that? Anyone has any idea? How do we think? We have neurons. We have neurons and networks. So this is artificial network. Same way the brain thinks.
Replicating the brain.
It replicates the brain thinking in programming way. So this is the most important part of the AI is the ANN, artificial neural networks. And of course other things are there, genetic algorithm. What is genetic algorithm? Any quick one. I don't want to go into all, but I just want to draw your attention to these two because they're very important. Genetic algorithms. Darwin. How many people know Darwin? Okay. How many people don't know Darwin? Darwin, the guy who said we were monkeys before, right? A lot of people disagree. Evolution, theory of evolution, right? And his statement was that survival of the fittest. And he said that if any genes or any
Organs.
yes, is fit, they will survive, other will disappear. So people have to adapt to be fittest. That's why over the year our senses have improved and so on. So he has a whole logic behind that. So same way we can use the same thing and we can select systems, we can make decisions using same concept of genetics. So this is coming from biology and others, but we use that and that's called artificial intelligence. So just to give you some idea. So artificial intelligence people started talking about in 50s and then it's going on. Now we are coming to machine learning. So we have come to the area of ML, machine learning. Our hottest topic, if you search machine learning, jobs for machine learning, the top salaries are being paid for people who have ability for working in machine learning. So if you want to be really on the top in the next 10 years, machine learning is the way to go. So machine learning it actually uses artificial intelligence and artificial neural networks, genetic algorithms, fuzzy logic, and many things, put them together and learns from data and learns from just like we learn. So it is not a dumb program like the past. So it's not a dumb program in the past. So if you develop a program, it will continuously learn from its own mistakes and its own experience. Every time it creates an output, it gets better, right? Smarter. So computers that are playing chess, you know about that? Now they can beat the top, Kaprov, what's his name? Kaprov something, the Russian guy who is the world champion. So it was thought that no, it's impossible to beat in chess because chess is totally human thinking, very tough. So which computer beat him? IBM Watson. So IBM Watson was IBM developed it. At first it could not. It took many years for it to learn chess, and finally it can beat the top. And now Google has their own similar computer that beats the Chinese chess board game, which is more complex than chess game. And it was believed that it is impossible to beat in that game. But recently, Google that program beat it, and the Chinese guy was saying he cannot imagine that he could be beaten. Right? So computers and programs are getting extremely now smart. that they can beat the human at very strategic games like chess and board games, which just required a lot of intelligence, high level of IQ was required to play those games. But now, so which means that artificial intelligence and machine learning and deep learning is going to just, all the movies that you have seen about the computers taking over, it's coming, right? Because they're also connected. Unlike us, we have to go to the internet to check. The computers are already connected, so they can draw data from everywhere, from other computers. They can collaborate with each other everywhere. Create this whole mega mind, people say. All the computers in the world, all the supercomputers thinking together against human brain. So it's not a good competition now. So artificial intelligence is where, of course, we still need people to do this, to create this. Right? But this is the future. So now we are here, and deep learning, we just started in that area. So 16, 20, so it will be in that direction. So just to give you can read about this when you get the slides, right, the detail. One of the many applications now in AIT, there's a lot of research on this one. We are also trying to develop many things. The most, the first time they applied it really was to determine what cat is that. So if you show, if you show a lot of pictures to the program, it can detect this is a picture of a cat. Now it might seem very obvious to us, we know it's a cat, but for computers, that doesn't mean anything. They just see pixels, colors, RGB values, red, green, blue, that's it. They don't see anything. So from that basic information of pixels with the color values of RGB, they have to assess that this composes a cat in a different color. Because for us, even if we see a picture of a person upside down, sideways, we can still recognize. For computers, it's not possible because they don't work in that way. So they have to be trained on millions of data. I just saw today there's a new app from MIT that you take a picture of any food and it will give you the recipe. Yes, you take a picture of any food, it will give you the recipe of that food. Can you imagine that? Now that is impossible for humans to do because it has been trained on a million recipes and a million pictures of food. So it can correlate that this picture looks like that food which has that recipe quickly. So imagine the power of this kind of artificial intelligence. And of course, this is our innovation. Then you can use this to create things. The next one is augmented reality and virtual reality. How many people have played this kind of things? Yeah, many people. Yes. So this is another area which is coming back. It came in artificial. This virtual reality actually came in mid 80s. It died because hardware wasn't there. Things weren't there to support it, and now it's coming back again. This time it's really there. Okay, what's the difference between augmented reality and virtual reality? Yes.
Integration with the real world.
What does that mean?
So in a virtual reality, you're completely cut off from the real world, but in augmented reality, you take real world objects and you superimpose virtual stuff.
Okay, so that is the next step, that you can see something and you can paste something from virtual, combine them together and create a very rich information space, which is not just about, like Pokemon was one. I never played, but I'm sure. So, for example, you can take your phone on a market and it can take a picture and show you the prices and discounts, something like that. So it's putting the data and putting it on your virtual reality stuff, and you combine that together, and so it will be, and this is, of course, it's going to go very far. These two things together. For design, for many things, we are also working on it. Big data and analytics is another area of research. Again, big. A lot of people are needed here because of the internet and connectivity and sensors and things everywhere. You have too much data. Billions and billions of terabytes of data now. How to make sense out of that is the key. So analytics based on all this data, trying to find hidden patterns. Google does it very well. They just know. Sometimes I am so amazed at if I do some search, they already know what I'm thinking to search and what I have searched before. Where am I going? And what did my email say? And what did my appointment say? And what did my message say? So combine them all together and give me information right away, because they have all the data. They're extremely getting very, very good at that. Scary to be in a way. So big data analytics is another area of research and innovation. Of course, mobile computing, as I also already mentioned, mobile computing is different from mobile phones. Mobile computing is that you put everything not on your PCs or on your things. It is on clouds somewhere else, and you can access anywhere. Most of us now, we don't even know that we are using it all the time, because we are accessing the same things. A few years ago, it was impossible. It wasn't even thinkable. You have to have a laptop. You have to have all the data with you. You have to carry everything with you. You forget some file in the office, you're done. I had this problem so many times. I'm making a presentation. I went somewhere. I forgot to bring my file with me. Now I'm sitting there, no access, no nothing. But now I have a robust account. That doesn't matter. If my computer isn't there with me, I can just borrow any computer, download there and start. I don't need my computer to carry with me, because all of my stuff is already on the cloud. So I can do everything there. My programs are there. I can just. So we are almost free now from carrying laptops with us. We're still carrying one. But it's good. Automation. This is another area, but still very, very, very important and very, very relevant. We have a good program on robotics here. I think you have seen the lab already. Maybe you will see today. Is that the plan? Thursday. So you will see our robotic labs. They're doing a lot of great stuff. Very interesting robotics things they're doing. So robotics and automation is still very important, because finally we still have to make something. It cannot be all virtual. Cannot be all. We still have to make a chair and sit on it. We cannot sit on a virtual chair, right? Don't try that. VR requirement. So this whole automation, like for example, iPhone, they target to automate the entire factories. Robots that make robots that make robots that make robots, kind of thing, right? Everything is fully automated. So this is Amazon, for example. Amazon, you know Amazon, right? So Amazon has one of the highest level of automation in their stores, in their warehouses. It's just robots going everywhere, storing. Because when you place an order, they have millions of products, right? Stored in millions of places, not one places. So they just have recorded the information about each product, its coordinates and everything. You place an order, the robot just knows which store, in which company, which floor, which shelf it is. It just goes there, gets it, packs it up, and sends you back. Right? So it has to be completely automated. So these are huge warehouses, fully automated by these robotic stuff. Stick PCs. You're from? Your background is?
Yeah, technically. I'm an engineer.
Engineering. What engineering? Computing. That's fine. Okay. So stick PCs. That's the other thing that we are now seeing, that not that size PCs in it, because you can find display devices anywhere. You don't need really anything. Now the whole PC, coming back to the old times when we used to work. I was telling somebody the other day, I was in the Philippines and we were talking about. So I got my first computer in 1981. Yes, there were computers in 1981. And it was called Spectrum ZX81, because it was released in, go Google Spectrum ZX81. And it was the first computer of that kind. And again, that company died away. It was way ahead of Apple and Microsoft and everybody else. Nobody existed. And they made these very nice computers, the size of this tablet, much smaller than that, and extremely good. It just weighed, and it weighed nothing. It was just like plastic. It was smaller than this keyboard. That's that hard computer, complete computer. But it did not have any display. It did not have any hard disk. It did not have anything. Just a basic computer, very, very light, 1 kilobyte memory. Do you know what's 1 kilobyte? not megabytes or gigabytes or just 1K. 1K. And you had to connect it to a television. So I had a black and white TV in my university at that time. So it's favorite thing, and I connect to that. And to store the data, you need the voice recorder. So you use the tape recorder and you connect it and you store the data. So it used to make a noise while saving the data. So that was the idea. You just have a computer, you use the home devices, one to display, one to store data, and that's it. So it was just came with that. It was a great idea. Unfortunately, that company, Sinclair, also did not follow through and they died away. They shouldn't have died away. They were really innovative. So now we're coming back to that kind of thing once more. This was 1981. And now we're coming to also these two big rivals, Raspberry Pi and Latte Panda, right? So we, in our office, we have both of these and we are encouraging our people to do something with them and use them to create something and connect them to sensors. So those of you, maybe him, anybody else knows about them?
Yes.
Huh? You also know? You also know, very good. That's good, that's good. Anybody has them? Okay. What have you done so far?
I have an Raspberry Pi as well as an Arduino, and I've automated my house with my mobile phone. So, okay, Google switch on the lights. So.
Okay, excellent, very good. Fantastic. So you will probably win the hackathon, right? Okay. So put him in your group, whoever wants to win. Okay, good. So we have also working on this one and asking people to find ideas how you can use these two together, connect it to something, right? It's really going back to the old times when people used to do hacking with these things and create stuff. But quantum computing, totally on the other extreme. Totally different way of solving problems that was unsolvable even in theory. So now quantum computing is a type of computing that tries to solve the problem, but it requires computers which are at almost 0 degree Kelvin, and they have to work very fast. So it's very, very difficult. Even to prove that it's a quantum computer is a challenge. But some people are now claiming that they have this theoretical impossible computer that can do huge computing very, very fast and solve problems which were thought not solvable. You know what is the biggest problem the world has to solve using supercomputers?
On and off. That's the only two states.
No. What I'm saying, what is the problem that the world needs the supercomputers for? Biggest problem that we use the computers for mostly?
Excuse me, sir. I recently read a news article that America tested a nuclear weapon using a supercomputer.
Quite possible. They can simulate it. But I'm saying, what is the most common application of supercomputers? That's it's a good one, but most common application. Where do we need supercomputers most? Sorry? Yeah, but calculation for what?
Big data.
Yes, for what? Weather. Weather prediction is the most common application of supercomputers. How to predict weather by getting all the data from all the weather stations in the world, putting it together, calculating where the air will move, where the temperature will rise, what will happen in next 10 days, 1 week or so on. So weather prediction is the most common use of supercomputers at this time. Okay? Products now, what are the innovative products that we are seeing, or things that you can make? 3D printing, eat your burger, make your burger and eat it too, right? So, how many people have seen or worked on a 3D printer? Yes? Seen and seen.
Got yesterday.
Yesterday you saw it. Okay, good. Over there?
Over here.
Over here, okay. Yeah, a lot of people haven't seen it. I was again yesterday last week I was meeting a lot of engineers, and we were talking about this 3D printing, and the guys were saying, I wish I can see one how it works. And a lot of people have heard about it, haven't really seen one in action. But actually it's a very simple thing, as you can see. But it has huge potentials. Now already people are using it for, companies are just changing their mode of manufacturing from traditional to 3D printing. So there are rows of printers lying there and doing printing. For example, Army if they are in the war zone and then some vehicle breaks down, they cannot send the part. So they just send the drawings and they print it and put it there. It's so easy, so simple. The one on the Mars they're going to build there is going to be 3D printed right there using the Mars material. Right? It's a first concrete printer that will use the Mars soil and print a house there. Right? Things like that. So 3D printing is a very efficient, interesting way to do stuff. Just send the drawing. Right now you have to order something from Amazon and wait for it to arrive. Next time you just order the drawing and print it and get it in an hour. Right? So that would be nice that you can make your own things. So 3D printing is the way, and again we think there's a lot of innovation that can happen with that. Human heart, recently they printed a human heart, real human heart, real replacement of a human heart using 3D printing and replaced a human heart. Imagine that you can just print various parts of the human body through these printers, replace the veins, replace the human heart, replace the kidney, just print it exactly to your size and specifications and your body, right? Scan it and print it. So this is really going to change. Of course, Yoda for your own collection. Battery technology. This is the stumbling block of this world right now. One thing which is holding things back is battery. And Elon Musk, when you mentioned him, he is obsessed about battery. Because he knows that as soon as we solve the problem of storage, then a lot of the things will be solved. Because right now, limitation on technology and application of a lot of things is battery. Battery capacity, battery weight, battery life, and so on and so forth. So, batteries, if we get the batteries better, they're already getting better. Much better than in the past. Right? What is in this phone, the battery now? A few years ago, you would have to carry a bag of that kind with 5 kg to carry that battery of that size and capacity, right? So solar energy can be used and stored for a long time and transported if you have battery. Wind energy can be similarly, a lot of energy problem can be solved if you have a bigger battery. And of course, battery can range from solving the city problems down to small, because if you can make the battery really small, you can put it inside the human body, replace your heart and beats and everything. Everything requires a battery, energy. So if energy source can be stored, energy can be stored for a long time, cheap and small, things will change. So this is the big one. As soon as somebody cracks this, there will be a big revolution, another big revolution, when the battery technologies goes to next level. So just about that. Sensing. Movies are always way ahead of the real world. I tell my engineers, how many civil engineers here? Few. Okay. So whenever I talk about structural engineering or civil engineering, which is my field to structural engineers, I tell them that I saw a movie in 1974 or something called Towering Inferno. So a tall building was burning, caught fire. And so they're showing this, the fire chief and the police head, they go to a structural engineer sitting on the site and they ask him, can you please tell us how long it will take for this building to fall down so that I can send my team to get the people, how many time we have, how many hours we have until the building collapses under fire. And that guy does some calculation and tells them 2 hours. I can assure you, even the supercomputers with all the computing power and knowledge we have, I cannot answer that question. But the public expected that answer from a structural engineer in 1974. We still aren't there. So what the public or the movies expect from us is where of course we're going. Back to the Future, how many people have seen it? Only 2? 3? 4? Very bad. You should see that movie, three parts, Back to the Future, because in that movie made in 1985, future was 2015, which is already past. So they showed a lot of stuff. They thought that in 30 years things will be totally different. They imagine a different world. Well, So a lot of people tried to make that movie true. They tried to create everything that was shown in the movie. So they, even Adidas made, in that movie there was
Self-drying shoes.
yes, and then something. So people tried to create everything shown in the movie in 2015 but something we couldn't yet. But movies are always ahead. So this movie, of course, and movies like this are way ahead of the way, but of course it will come. This is a combination of augmented reality, it's a combination of sensors, it's a combination of haptics, it's a combination of everything. It's combining so many technologies together. But for movie people it's easy, they can just do it. Minority Report is another movie.
Yes, sir.
Yes, where they... So if you look at the movies, you can see where things will go. Right?
Iron Man.
Iron Man, of course, that's the Iron Man. So a lot of things. So sensing technologies is where we are going now. Everything touch and sense. That is the key. That's why you have our hackathon coming up. That's why we put this hackathon on sensors for you people, as I mentioned to you the other day. So and a day and a half just trying to figure out how can we use all these sensors to create a science fiction movie. That's it. And
So how does the hackathon work? Do we have to take an idea, present it to you, and then if you approve, then we create it, or is it just we have to create?
no, you have to create, come and present.
Okay.
It's just like a startup thing. So you'll all get only 3 minutes, very limited time to. We will give you all the details, but that will be one of the exciting things. But you should start thinking already. Walk around and see what you can do if you have. So get the list. Are we sending them the list of the sensors already or not yet? Today. So today you will get the list of the sensors that you have about 30-35 sensors. Imagine what can you do by putting them together, putting in an app or making a device.
Just the ideas of the blueprints.
As much information as you can give, as real as it can be. Because if just an idea, it's okay, but if you already know how to do it, much better. If you have a possible solution, much better. Yeah, something like that. So we haven't announced, but the winners, first 3 winners are going to get some really nice good prizes. Okay, so try to win them. Transportation, another issue, another major challenge for the humanity. That how can we solve the problem of moving people? Really, I spend hours in traffic every day, coming here. 4 hours or 2 hours or 3 hours of my time are wasted. Okay, not so much wasted. I can do something on my mobile phone, check my email, but a lot of the time is still wasted in transportation. Of course, with the cell phones and the mobile computing, a lot of the time actually is not wasted anymore. A lot of people are in trains, especially. They're doing a survey. What do you do when you get stuck in traffic? 80% people said that we play with the phone and do some stuff and something like that. So it's a changing. People are adapting to this, but still transportation is a major issue environmentally and so on. Drones are coming, as you know, for everything. So flying drones to fly. So drones is one which will solve the transportation of goods and people. Amazon and other people are using it, trying to use it to deliver things, right? How many people have a drone at all? You have.
Try to create one
Why?
It's not working.
It's not working? Yeah. Okay, we have a drone. Please, Jennifer, make sure that you give them a test. Let them all try the drone with Amir, that our 2 drones. Let them have a small drone imaging that they can take with them of reality some area. Okay. So we'll all let you play with the drone, and really nice good drone, and let you take that video back to you with you. Okay. So drones is another area that you can do a lot of stuff now. A lot of stuff. We are really working on finding more applications of drones every day. Construction monitoring, this and that, and I was in Pakistan a few days ago. We took the drones there, and it was an old fort they want to protect from earthquakes and so on. So we went up and then we created a drone because it's too complicated to measure. It's very old stone, 700-800 years old. So take the drone and create this 3D model, and now we are using that information to analyze and so on. Right? So drones are really, really good. Of course, now soon there will be drone lanes because it's too many drones will be 2 minutes. Yes. I already looked at my watch. Don't remind me. I actually have 3 minutes, not 2. I'm almost self-driving and smart cars. Again, big thing. I mean, everybody's trying to work on that. Get rid of the drivers. Actually, not get rid of the drivers. Nobody likes to drive. You know, my son is older than you, but not you. So he doesn't have a license. He doesn't know how to drive, which is very amazing. You know, normally in a like you know, and when you tell him, he said, "Why should I drive? I don't want to drive." He just rides in the trains and rides in the, so doesn't want to drive. He just thinks it's useless, pointless. Just like he also doesn't have phone number. He just uses the social media wireless and all. So he's totally trying to disconnect from these kind of things. So Hong Kong, New York, nobody wants to drive or has a car. They just like their, but we have to have a good transportation system. If you have a good transportation system, people don't need to drive because driving is a waste of time. It's very exciting. For me, I would not give up driving but yes, it's, for some people, they don't like it, so self-driving cars like this one is coming, this is the car from Mercedes, it's already driving it around. As you can see here, Google did that, now they pulled back, Uber is doing it, now Grab company. How many people know about Grab? Yeah, I know India doesn't know, but other people know. They just got $2.5 billion yesterday from investors to develop improved transportation. $2.5 billion, right? It's a startup. Imagine people throwing money at them to solve the problem of the transportation. Literally throwing. So smart cars, everybody's working on it. Almost everybody's working on it. Even normal cars have tons of sensors now because they're all trying to, again, sensors. Sensors is the key for everything. Star Trek, anybody? Star Trek, yeah. Only, anybody Star Trek? Come on, people, go back, look at the old, really classic, So one of the thing in the Star Trek, the most important innovation are two. First one was their communicator. They had a communicator which looks like exactly like a cell phone of today. It was unthinkable when they made that, and it used to open, and then they have a flip card, and then Motorola made that, and many people used to have that exactly looked like a communicator from Star Trek, and it had a picture. People said, "Oh, these crazy people, how can we have a picture on a phone?" Of course, we have it now. Another thing they had was this teleportation of the people. You can just energize people in one place and de-energize them in another place. So transport people by simply converting them into energy, matter to energy, energy back to matter. So it was quite common for them to move around in places. They would stand there and they will be energized, and like this one here, and then another place they will appear. And there was an engineer called Scotty, so they will always call, "Beam me up, Scotty," they will call him, they will bring me back. So that's a sentence, very famous sentence, maybe not for you people, but for our generation, very important. So we are not there yet about in that level, but getting close, because Elon Musk has created this Hyperloop, which he is now installing in Dubai as the first part, which will transport people at incredible speeds. Not as fast as that, but still incredible speeds. So it's just a small tube, a capsule, you sit there and zip, it goes there very, very fast. Right? Close to the speed of sound. So from Los Angeles to San Francisco, he's trying to build that track first. Now, last time I went there, it took us 9 hours to drive. And he's thinking it will be done in 20 minutes or less. Right? Faster than the plane. And of course, no time to take off and stuff, just sit here and you're there. So Hyperloop is another one. First one is being built in Dubai. They always have, so they're going to go for it from Abu Dhabi to Dubai. I think it will take 7 minutes. Now it takes an hour and a half or something. 7 minutes, Abu Dhabi to Dubai. That's it, we're done. So a lot of things that are now coming up, and all of these will require innovation work that you can do. Smart cars, this is coming up also now, it's a real thing. SpaceX, again from Elon Musk. Elon Musk, you're right, he's the guy who's investing in every crazy idea. Everything that people think cannot be done, he does that, which is amazing. So there are a lot of bigger things. Internet of Things is one. Who's the next speaker?
Coffee breaks.
Coffee break, okay, it's okay. They don't need coffee. They're too young. Internet of Things, so as you know, everything connected together. This is, so sensors, actually, he's already talking about, he can use a smart, so you can do internet for everything. Not only for communication, but connect things to each other. And that's the dangerous stuff, but also the good stuff. Bitcoin and blockchain, another area which will change the way we do our world financing, banking, money will disappear. Going back to the barter system of long time ago, there was a long time ago there was money. So you bought rice, you give me rice, I give you chicken, something like that. So it's barter. Bitcoin is similar. You barter your services for some services. That's it. So there's no money. Even now, what's money anymore? It's just a number moving around. For example, I get a salary. I don't get it. Nobody gives me the money. It just goes to an account, and I pay my credit card. It just goes to an account. I never see that money. It's already finished at the end of the month. Not end of the month. Start of the month, right? It's just numbers moving around from one system to the other, right? So that number could be anything, and Bitcoins is that possibility, or blockchain is that possibility. Rather than having currency, euro and all, you have universal one currency everywhere. So that's the whole idea. And people are already working in Bitcoins, paying for stuff. Solar city or solar energy is there, we need energy, there's a lot of energy, we just have to convert it. I think that's, and then conversions into everything. So all these things that I talked about, they're converging. Everything, machine learning, internet of things, devices, 3D printing, everything is converging into the same thing. There is one book called, what's that, I'm forgetting the name, what's that point? No, I'm forgetting that. There's a lot of talk about the time when humans and computers will merge and become one. So that is the time that people are thinking that we will not be able to distinguish ourselves from our cell phone. Amazon, Alexa, and Echo, these are some of the smart, we will just put them and they control everything through voice. So voice activated control of every you order, you see who's at the door, open the door, order pizza, read newspaper, everything is voice control. Really Jetson style. Jetson, I'm talking with the wrong crowd, okay, Sharia Jetson is, it's coming back again by the way. Jetson was the cartoons that you either showed a long time ago. Jetson is the family that lives way in the future when it was made, which is now, So they have this smart home, they have this smart car, they just hand and then it plays. So all of the things that happen in Jetson's cartoons is now happening. And they are bringing that series back, Jetsons. Smart cities, so everything, like I said, everything connected together, create a whole smart city, transportation, communication, energy, disposal, everything. So now this is the big thing, smart cities, creating smart cities. Many countries, India, Singapore, Europe, many people are trying to create these smart cities which are fully designed to be integrated and connected. So we can say that the future is actually here. Of course, like I said, the future of the past is this one. So let's do something about it. Thank you. Questions? 5 minutes of questions.
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a civil engineering student.
Okay.
And I see that you have a strong civil engineering background. So how would you suggest that we relate ourselves or to keep current with this kind of evolving technologies you mentioned? Yeah.
Very good question. You see, like I said, now we are ourselves. We are now. My own PhD was half construction engineering, half computers. So most of my work is on interface between computing and engineering. And a lot of my students also do research like that, right? So we try to, we are not many people are doing it. So with this, we are one of the group. And our group is now trying to integrate the buildings with sensors and, not only for energy and all, but structural. For example, if there's an earthquake, we pick up the exploration, we quickly calculate what happened to the building and report back to the owners. We are also using drone-based construction monitoring. We are doing a lot of stuff. So we are actually literally trying to combine, we have just created an artificial intelligence program for building design. So for example, it has used the machine learning. So it has already, we have done a lot of buildings, so based on that it already, so if you tell us the program, this is my 40-story building, tell me the answer, what it should be, it will just build the line right away without going through the process.
Yes.
So yes, there's a lot of potential. Yes.
I'll extend his question. Like you were talking about the software like Revit. In Revit you do that, like design a building and something like that. That will put architects and civil engineers out of their job.
See, this argument has been ongoing since the first industrial revolution. When they made the machine, they say, oh, people will go out of job. Let me just answer you that. In 1900, in US, 97% of the population was working in the farms and working in the fields. 97%. And 3% people working other things. In 2000, so this is 1900. In 2000, 93% people in America are already working in farms and 97% are working on services and other things. So actually, when the machines came for farming, people said farmer will be out of the job. No, they just started doing other jobs. So it keeps on happening. Every time there's a revolution, people are still needed. We keep announcing people for our programming in certain languages, we cannot get anybody. I trust me, when we announce people for our jobs, there are no people, good people to find in the things that we need. So just a different job. Nobody is going to be out of business. Yes?
How much does a 3D printer cost in an application?
The cost of the 3D printer, yes. So you want to answer that?
Is 78,000 baht.
78
Minimum, actually 50,000 is the $1,000 to $10,000 is the good, and of course $1 million too, but we're not talking about that. But if you go to market now, the home 3D printer that you can do stuff is about $1,000, not even about 30,000 now. But the one that we have in the office is about 80,000, the other 100,000. Not so expensive actually. Yes?
So you told that supercomputer is used for weather protection. So can you please elaborate?
Sorry?
So can you please elaborate?
Elaborate, okay. The problem is that for weather, to predict weather, everything is interconnected. It's a very, very complex matrix that needs to be solved because, for example, one place temperature changes, it will move the air from that to another place, but then that warm air will change the temperature over there, so it actually cannot go there. The temperature that was supposed to be there is not there anymore. So that calculation that you do today, that tomorrow this air from hot to move to cold, not true, because when the warm air goes there, it's no longer cold, so it will not move. So it keeps changing. The parameters on which you do the calculations keep changing as it happens. So and then there's too much data to be processed from all the weather stations. And it depends, like temperature depends on the temperature, humidity, wind speed, they're all interconnected. Precipitation, so many things are interconnected. It's a complex model. So it just takes a lot of time to compute the weather projection, and especially predicting weather for 1 hour, 1 week, 1 day, 1 hour long. We have good predictions for about 2, 3, or even 1 month. In fact, Back to the Future, one of the things that they show is that when he arrives in future, he lands there and it's raining, and the guy looks at his watch and says, okay, 1, 2, 3, 5, and okay, after 5 seconds the rain stops. Because he's saying that the weather prediction is so accurate now that he knows to the second that when the rain will stop. But he was saying the postal service is still not that efficient, it was just a joke. But the point is that weather prediction is one of the main challenges.
Is it something about weather forecasting?
Correct. Yes, of course, weather forecasting. How to predict when it will rain, when it will stop raining, what will be the temperature tomorrow, and so on. Anything else? This side? No questions here? Alright, thank you.